Hi, welcome to Shelf Starters. I'm Rosie,
Hi, I'm Kate.
and today we're back with our Norton Anthology Challenge for the 16th century, and we are doing Sir Thomas Wyatt, who is a poet.
Sonnets, yay.
Sonnets, yes.
Yeah.
And I think this guy is one of the most interesting guys we've done.
Hugely interesting. His life, amazing, a short life, but a really intense one.
Yeah.
And I mean, huge because, of course, he was in the court of Henry VIII.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as a lot of our people are for the 16th century, but he is in it.
Very in the court. And in fact, people say courted Anne Boleyn before Henry and had to back off. And in fact, was imprisoned and watched people before him be beheaded or executed, including Anne, but also other people accused of being her lovers. So what a tumultuous life, and got through that. Wasn't he? I think he was sent to the Tower twice. Is that right?
He was sent twice. So the first time for adultery with Anne.
Yeah.
And the second time was just some other treason.
Some other minor treason. That anyway, he was in the Tower twice, but didn't die on either occasion, but then died.
Hugely impressive.
But then did die very, very young.
Yeah.
Because he basically got a flu.
Yeah. What a shame.
While being a diplomat, in itself fantastically interesting.
Yeah.
So, yay. And then, died of, how old was he? 29, 39? 29.
Yeah, I think he was in his 30s.
He was 39. He got a fever and died. So he went through all of that amazing stuff.
Trauma. Like, can you imagine the trauma of going to the Tower twice, seeing everyone,
watching people go to their beheading, including Anne Boleyn, who supposedly, was a lover, which of course we don't know. There's no complete.
We don't know, but the poems really do.
The poems sound pretty much as though that was what was going on. And so to watch her go to her death must have been horrific. And to watch the other lovers also would be my numbers up,
Yeah, you definitely would think you're next. I mean, that's what he would have been told.
And so it's no wonder that his poetry is largely, a lot of the focus, obviously, as per most sonnets, is on love, unrequited love. But his is really interesting because he borders on misogyny in parts, I think.
Yeah.
He's pretty angry.
He's so angry. He's really angry.
Yeah.
And because it's not only Anne, his wife
committed adultery. Yes.
So he really had bad luck.
So his view of women couldn't be pleasing, obviously. No. And certainly that tone, that angry tone, comes into his poems. But somehow, which at first I was wondering if I therefore don't like them, because I was thinking, oh please, you can't be this cross. But then when you can't, then you realise when you look at his life and go, yeah, okay. There was good reason.
At least it's honest,
Oh, brutally so. Yes.
The other thing that he talks about a lot, other than love, is deception at court.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. The other focus is, in fact, on the society in which he lives, and the horror of the deception and treason, in fact, and awfulness going on in the court. And he's really nicely cynical about all of that. And it puts him in danger again. So he puts himself in danger a lot of times. So it's interesting. Yeah. It's really interesting.
And I like the ones as well where it could be either way. Like, he's talking both about love and about the court. And it's like, you don't know if they're metaphors for the other,
So, and then, so you've got all that's, you can't move past the subject matter and the association with his extraordinary life, but you can, because then there's the added element that he basically introduced the sonnet form itself to England.
Yeah.
Which is, so he, even without all the personal side, just the fact that he did that was pretty extraordinary.
Yeah,
but he wasn't really given the kudos for that.
Not really. How many people actually talk about Thomas Wyatt now?
Very few, really, in the scheme.
I had never heard of him before, we started.
There are others that we talk about much more frequently.
Yeah.
So he didn't
I
see.
think his role as an ambassador is a really interesting thing because he was able to go to Italy,
Yes.
see,
Yes.
get all like the Petrarch sonnet form,
That's where he took the sonnets. Yeah. Yeah.
bring it back.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of travel kind of imagery as well in his sonnets, so that's pretty nice.
Which we then see again in the Donne sonnets, much further down the track. That's what Donne picked up on and did. So
and continued. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of sonnets in here.
A lot.
And
Did you have favourites, Rosie?
Yes, but honestly, it's more like which ones didn't I like, and
that was the actual problem.
I liked all of them.
Yeah,
pretty.
I mean, yes.
My favorite. Some of my favorites are Whoso lists to hunt because it is so like it's got that Anne Boleyn imagery. So this one is
and she's a deer. She's like a deer, and it's really lovely. Yeah,
the metaphor of her being this deer that everyone's hunting, and him saying, "I've been doing that for so long, I'm giving up now.
I'm withdrawing from the hunt. Yeah,
I'm out.
I'm out. Yeah, I can't really take on Henry VIII. Yeah."
Yeah, can't take on Henry VIII. The interesting thing is that the you find out that the deer at the end has like a collar on it saying which is then obviously supposed to be Henry VIII. So I liked that one. I thought that was
that's really interesting. Yeah, yeah. Isn't it funny that you can get so much out of 14 lines?
Yeah, right. It's
tiny.
They're short, but they're really effective.
Yep, yep. And what about farewell, love? That kind of the contradictions of love and life, that that kind of idea of the using the sonnet form, which is really, really tight, but looking at the chaos of his life, of a life. I love that.
Mm-hmm. I like the imagery of the rotten boughs. So at the end it says he's not going to go after rotten boughs to climb.
Yes, so I love that too. I highlighted that.
Yeah. Knowing that not going to pursue
something that's rotten.
Is going to
It's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. And very Hamlet-y, that one. Very Hamlet.
Yeah. Also very dangerous. Like you can climbing a rotten bough, you're going to fall. So it's that like not going to pursue something that I know is going to hurt me.
Absolutely. But don't you think that Hamlet garden imagery, that whole kind of the rotten gardens and the weeds. That's what made me think about, and the contradictions. That to me was
actually there's a few things that are very Shakespearean, and you wonder if Shakespeare did take it. Like there's reference to love being blind, which I always thought came from Shakespeare.
Yeah,
but it's talking about
interesting, Rosie. The sonnet is meant to be often accompanied by music, or so it is a very performative form of poetry, and interesting that kind of you can see these huge parallels with Shakespeare.
Yeah,
and that's performance. So yeah.
Another thing I liked on the music note, I liked the ones about the lute, but in particular the one that's "Blame not my lute."
Yeah.
Basically saying, if you screw me over, I'm going to write about it, which just made me think of Taylor Swift. It's just like, this is like,
who would have thought?
Yeah, like and it's basically him saying, I'm going to use this in my music. I will you can't blame me if you did something bad.
Yeah,
we're all gonna know that.
Yep.
It says spite asketh spite and changing change.
Yeah,
that's fun. Blame but thyself.
Yep.
Quite bitter. It is that bitter tone, but that's kind of fun.
The only one I liked Forget Not Yet as well. That kind of warning, betrayal. That was kind of good. I like that too. I mean, I'm going to say I like all of them. Although, no, I found the one, Mine Own John Poins, that one.
Yeah, that's not a sonnet. It's
it's a very long critique, a satire, really. Yeah, this massive satire.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, what? You had to be there. You know what I mean? It's one of those events. Like you need to know, you needed to be on the inner circle to really appreciate that, I think.
Yeah, you needed the references to get it, I think. But I liked it. I thought it was kind of like...
I didn't dislike it. It's just I liked the other ones more. Yeah.
It's when he's been exiled and he's away from court and having to like stay in the country, and I think he's basically under like house arrest, so he can't travel either.
Yeah.
And he writes to his friend John Poins, and he's saying, basically making it sound like he's exiled of his own choice.
Yeah.
In like, I hated at court.
And I don't want to hang out with these dudes anyway, because this is what they're like, and this is what the whole thing is. Yeah.
And like I can't pretend to look the other way anymore when all these bad things are happening, and definitely positioning himself as like the victim, the one who's like much, you know, more honorable than everyone else, which I think is a bit grating. But but then at the end I liked it that he goes through this whole like rambling thing about how much he hates it all, and then at the end he has this like, come visit me.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, I guess, Rosie, the thing is, the sonnets are so tightly structured and so condensed and therefore intense, but they're also incredibly clever. You've got to be so, you know, when you're being that concise, you've got to be really clever about what you're saying.
Yeah, whereas this rambly one, not so much.
Yeah, there's more room to kind of pad out a thought. So I also admire the ability to craft a sonnet more than I do somehow.
I see that. I also found it very interesting that you know, normally when we think about poets and you know, sonnets in particular, we're thinking about it's being created from scratch, but because he's translating Plutarch, Petrarch,
not Plutarch. Plutarch is a Shakespearean reference.
Yeah, that's true. It's like the ideas are not his own, but he's giving it language and twist, which I find quite interesting as well.
Yeah, that he's able to take that and then apply it to his own personal experience and reshape it and you would assume he had written it himself. You know, I mean, he had come up with the whole thing himself.
Yeah, if you didn't know, for sure, you would
have them side by. I mean, in this edition, so we've got them side by side. So
we've got the modern prose translation of Petrarch.
Yeah.
Next to
which is really good because you can really see the difference.
You can see the difference, But I do know what you mean, that if you didn't have that, you definitely would think that the sonnets were written by him entirely, and the whole idea, because it's so much his style. Like the ones that aren't translated, like you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two.
No. It's really clever as.
A lot of ship imagery as well.
Yes, because of course exploration and being on ships, that's what he did a lot of. So that's what he knew. And that is really and that's what John Donne also brings. You know, he uses that same conceit. You know,
I think it'd be hard not to, because these journeys are so long and so dangerous.
Yeah.
By ship.
And they're all the rage. I mean, that is the thing everybody's interested in talking about. It would be similar to us talking about flying to the moon, I suppose. You know, like that kind of idea of adventure and daring and quest all gathered together, really.
Yeah, if it's something
it's about risk. And you know, what are you doing if not taking on huge risk when you pursue love, especially someone who is held up on a pedestal or unattainable?
Or when ambassador for Henry VIII.
Yeah.
Seems very risky.
So the object of your love is unattainable. So that's massively risky.
There was another one I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
The really scarring one where he's in the tower.
And he looks through the grate and says, I'm looking through the grate.
He's so scarred. It made me so sad because it has
it's really sad.
It's just the saddest song. It's so sad. Who list his wealth and ease retain. So it's basically talking about how fast you fall from a position
from being up high and happy, and
the fall is grievous from aloft.
That saying, you know.
But it made the lines that he has about how scarred he is from this whole experience just make me really sad. It says, these bloody days have broken my heart.
Yeah.
The bell tower showed me such sight that in my head sticks day and night.
Day and night.
You can't forget. Yeah. Really sad.
Even the line, there did I learn out of a grate. You know, not we've all, but lots of people, many of us have been to the tower, and you can see that, you know, that little grate.
Oh yeah, you can just imagine, looking
and the
down
stone and the dark and the damp and the misery, and it's always freezing, no matter what the weather actually is. It's completely freezing there at all times. Oh, it's so sad.
And but it was interesting though is that's the whole part is he's obviously going to have that imagery for the rest of his life and he's never going to be able to forget that. But the end here where he has advice that says the best thing to do is bear low, give God the stern. So basically don't claim you're innocent and stir up big fuss.
Accept stuff.
Accept it and then you get away with it. He did. So I think that was he was very clever in that. He knew how to play people, I suppose. And he knew Henry. So
gosh, every day you just think that Henry VIII, wow, what a person. There's just not a good story to be had there, really. It's just
no, especially towards the end.
Horrific.
A bit crazy.
And now I want to know more about Anne Boleyn.
Well, so in the Wolf Hall trilogy by Hilary Mantel, a lot of these poets that we do in this
are in that.
Entry, they're in that. They're referenced really briefly, but like they do appear because they are in court. So she is all the historical figures. She must have done so much research. Before
that's right. That's her life. But Anne Boleyn, as a human being, like you're just trying to imagine what she must have been like.
I think she was very clever.
Obviously, she must have been. And what was it about her that attracted so many people?
Yeah, it's weird because apparently, you expect that she must have been this like beautiful thing, like just everyone must have adored her and stuff. But then there's other suggestions that actually she was not that attractive.
No, but she had something special. Obviously,
she had some skills.
Well, enough to move all those men and make Henry absolutely demented. Obviously, anyway, fascinating stuff. But but this was a lovely read. This was a really lovely read.
I hugely recommend this. I think it's actually really accessible. The poetry easy to read and it's very effective. So you can immediately understand what he's saying. None of it's like that sort of hidden meanings of things. It's quite clear what he's getting at, but it's done in such a beautiful way.
That's right. It's not hard work. It's
not hard work.
It's enjoyable. And it's a lovely intro to a pretty important part of English literature, obviously. The development of. And how lovely to see the link with Italian. It's lovely. We will see that a lot as well in the next few ones. That's right. We go to Henry Howard, who was ended up being kind of more recognised. It's terrific to kind of have a reason to look at poetry closely.
I don't really read poetry otherwise.
No, because it's not necessarily a genre that you pick up and dip into when you're on your own just naturally.
Well, not me anyway.
No.
So it's kind of a good excuse to go into that.
For me and for you, it's not something that we necessarily go to on our own. So it's kind of nice to have a reason and realise how great it is. It's good.
I think poetry was the big medium of the time as well. There's a lot we're going to have, especially when we get to this. There's like a whole section in the Norton that's Elizabethan miscellany, and it's a whole heap of random poets. It's just like many
couldn't actually fit into something specific.
So I think that'll be fun too. We're going to be much better at poetry by the time we finish.
We will be good at it by the time we've done this.
All right. Well, we can actually read any poetry aloud, but I think it's really best if you guys do that yourselves because we're not not great at that. I recommend Whoso Lists to Hunt if you're going to start with any. I think that's a good starting place. You want to check out any poems. We will link something down below with where you can find the poems online, but Penguin also does this great edition with all of them. So definitely encourage you to pick it up.
And then we can look forward to next week, do some more sonnets and see some parallels and also
from different guys. I see the next guy has been a little bit more like playful. A little bit less depressed.
And that's just steadily how sonnets went, isn't it? Because then you do arrive at Donne, who is all about wit and playfulness. So it's interesting as a form that it develops and develops and develops and becomes more interested, I think, in the art of craft, the crafting of the sonnet. Maybe it becomes more focused on that as we go along.
Rather than the translations.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know what you think and if you're going to pick up any of these poems. And also if you have read any of his other ones that maybe we didn't touch on that you would recommend as well. All right. Well, thanks for watching and see you again next time. Bye.